Okay, we're going to talk about your trip that you took to heaven and back. So just
Okay.
tell me where it starts and where we go from there. And I'll ask you some questions, but I don't want to influence anything you're saying. So you
Do
just,
you want me to tell you why I went?
that's good. We got plenty of
Okay.
time.
Okay.
And
Let's see, my doctor, well, go ahead. I'll just tell you.
tell me.
Now?
Yeah.
Well, Kathy called me from work and she said, Mom, you don't sound good. I said, I don't feel right either. And I don't usually admit that to her because first thing she thinks about is the hospital. So she told me she'd park in the driveway. Well, I was feeling well enough that I walked out all the way out to the street, got in the car myself. And I felt okay most of the way to the hospital. But she knew that I was having a heart attack. I didn't know it. I didn't feel anything like I was having it like it was before. But when when she called them, they met me outside, and I remember them putting me in the wheelchair. And that's the last thing I remember. I don't remember going into the hospital at all. And then when I don't even remember anything for days after. You know, it just seemed like it was just all a blank, you know. The only thing I could remember was that God came to the operating room and he took hold of my hand very firmly and we went sailing through the air. And, you know, I've always dreaded going through that tunnel, but I don't even know that there was a tunnel because I didn't see anything. We just went so fast that I didn't know what we were doing or where we were going. And he said, now that wasn't bad, was it? I said, no, I enjoyed it. And then Dad was standing there and he said, what are you doing here? Just like I'm not supposed to be there, you know. And he was so handsome. Oh, I tell you, he was just beautiful. He looked like he did when we first got married. And I told Kathy, I said, it's kind of ridiculous, an 88-year-old woman, you know, being there with a 24-year-old man. And it just seemed so strange to me. But Kathy said he didn't see me that way. So I don't know how he saw me. Maybe he thought he was 88 too, I don't know. But the time passed so fast. One of the nurses told me that it was 10 minutes that I was there, and I can't believe. I thought you couldn't be dead for 10 minutes, but she said it was 10 minutes, and then the three of the doctors said that they, you know, there's no point in trying to. The second time, there was no point in trying to revive me because I was gone. And this one doctor said, no, I'm not giving up. And I don't know which doctor it was. I would like to find out, you know. I don't know if I want to thank him or not, though. Because, you know, if he hadn't, then I would still be there. And because I asked God to let me stay. And he said, no. He said, you've got work to do on earth. And said, you can come back later. Which made me feel good, you know. That I knew that I would really be there, you know, and could stay there. So.
What did Dad say to you when he saw you? What other than that, was there any more conversation with Dad?
Oh yeah, he asked about the kids. You know, he said, "How are the kids doing?" I said, "Fine," and he said, "Well, that made him happy. You know, that all the kids were okay." Yeah, but we didn't talk very much because I was looking all around, you know, and I saw a big book, and it looked like a Bible. It was lying open, you know, and I asked him what that was, and he said that's just names. It said no writing except names of people in there, and I remembered a verse in the Bible and how our names were written down in the Lamb Book of Life. And but I couldn't remember where I saw it or what it was. But I thought maybe that was what it was, you know. But Jimmy told me that that it was just names in there of people that were in heaven. And now, how could they keep up with that many people? You know, all of it.
You were going to ask him some questions though when you got there, and
Oh,
what?
I was going to ask him a
what
lot
happened?
of questions. Yes, I knew I was even when I'm flying through the air with him. I knew I was going to ask questions. You know, I wanted to know first of all, when was the world going to end? You know, I wanted to know that. And but then when he put his arm around my shoulder, and he said, "You have a kind, gentle heart," I just got so melted. I just melted. I couldn't think of a thing to say. Couldn't remember a thing that I wanted to ask because it just seemed so unreal and so loving, and it just all faded away. So I didn't ask him anything.
When you said something before to me about the streets were really
Well,
of gold.
Well, you know, it tells us in the Bible that the streets are made of gold, and they were gold. They were gold colored, but they were soft like grass. When you stepped on them, you could feel that, you know, softness there like grass.
Did you see anything else in heaven? You know, we're told in the Bible that there's gates made of single pearls, and there's a stream going down the middle of heaven, and there's a
No, I
tree of
didn't see
life,
that.
and
I
you didn't
see
see any of that.
No.
Any other sights that you saw there other than people?
Oh, I saw the angels, and that impressed me as much as anything that I saw, because they would have babies in their arms, and some of them were flying through the air holding the babies, and then there was some in chairs, rocking chairs, and rocking the babies. And I loved that, and I thought, well, now when I come back, that's what I hope God gives me to do. I hope that's the job He gives me to do, is holding the babies, you know.
Did the angels that you saw, did they have faces like?
No.
They didn't have faces, but they did have wings. Didn't you say they did have wings?
Yes, they
The
had
angels.
wings, but no faces. I mean, I couldn't see their faces. I couldn't tell anything. It was just a kind of a blank, you know.
Did you feel anything temperature-wise or anything like that?
Oh, everything was warm. Everything
Warm?
was warm.
Comfortable
I was
warm or
very,
too
very,
warm?
Very comfortable. And it was the only thing that you could really feel was the love. You could feel the love. The love was just all around everybody, you know. It just seemed like it came from every individual that I looked at. There was just radiated love, you know.
What about the sounds? Were there any sounds that you heard while you were
Yeah, I heard, remember when Dad sang in the hospital? That time, you know, he sang that song and we didn't know what it was. That was what they were singing in that language. And I couldn't understand it. But they were talking to me in my language, so I could understand, I guess.
And how many people would you say, about how many people did you talk to or talk to you while you were there?
Oh, I can't remember. I know I talked to Helen, you know, Dave's mother, and I didn't talk to her as much as she talked to me. She just rattled it off, you know, just talk. Wanted to know if Kathy and Dave were still together, and she said she was glad we're together because Kathy was such a good person that Dave deserved someone like her. And
Now, you told me something about
I
seeing
told-
LaDonna's mother at one time?
yeah, I saw LaDonna's mother, and she thanked me for taking care of her when she had the cancer, and she thanked me for looking out for after LaDonna, you know, for these years after she left. She appreciated that. But I saw Dwayne too, but I didn't say anything except hi, Dwayne. That's all I said to him, and he just disappeared. I don't know where he went, but I didn't see Donnie.
Now, when you say he disappeared, when you saw all these people, whoever it is that you saw, did they just all of a sudden appear to you, or
Yeah,
did you
they
have to
came-
go to them? Or
No, they came to me. They
Okay.
came to me.
were you standing or
And-
sitting, or do you
And
remember?
They were standing.
What about you?
I was standing too,
Okay.
and Dwayne just passed by and just went real fast. And I don't remember him even answering me. You know, I just said hi, Dwayne, and he didn't even answer me.
Was there anybody else that you talked to in any kind of length?
I don't remember. I don't remember talking to anyone else.
Now, you said something about seeing your mother and father there.
Yeah, I saw them, and they were more like a shadow, but I recognized them, you know. But they were in this dark black place. It was just real black, and it looked like a big field or something.
Did you talk to anybody up there that you didn't recognize? Any other person that
No.
you didn't recognize?
No,
All of them were familiar to you?
Yeah.
Everybody that you talked to?
Yes, yeah,
Okay, and they all spoke English so you could understand?
yes,
What were their
But
voices
they were
like?
singing in the background. There was a lot of singing in the background, and it sounded just like the song that your dad sang.
What were their voices like when they talked to you? Were they like their own voice
Yes.
when they're here on
Yeah.
Earth?
Yeah.
So they sounded just, so Dad sounded like
But
Dad.
yeah, he sounded like that. But they were all, oh, I don't know how to put it. There was just a warmth to their voice that they didn't have on Earth. A warmth that you could just feel the love. It just radiated all around. I mean, I've never in my life, nobody can find words to describe the love that was there. And that's why that I keep telling people, don't dread dying, because I said, if you've been saved, then, you know, if you accept Christ, then you're going to feel such love that you'll be glad that you served Him. I had one lady in the hospital that she told me, she said that, well, all good people will go to heaven. And I said, it takes more than goodness to get you to heaven. I said, you've got to confess your sins and ask God to save you. And she said, oh no. She said, no, if you're a good person, said you'll be in heaven. And I feel so bad that I didn't have another chance to talk to her, because I thought of different ways I could tell her, explain to her, but she was in and out, and I never did see her again at the hospital, you know. So I feel bad about that.
When you were standing there with God and He had His arm around you, or He's holding your hand, whatever it may be, was He with you all the time that you were there?
No.
You didn't feel His presence all the time?
He wasn't there all the time I was there. No, the time passed so quickly that I wonder how I could be dead for 10 minutes. I don't think I could have been there 10 minutes.
But when you talked to the people, the different people that came up and appeared to you, was there anything in the background that you could see, or could you just see them?
Oh, I heard music.
But I mean, as far as seeing anything, could you? I know you felt the streets.
I saw this big black place, and someone, and I don't even know who told me. I don't know if that was Jimmy or not that told me, said we're not supposed to talk to them. So I didn't get to say anything to my mother and dad.
But when you were talking to them, like I'm looking at you now, I can see you, but I can also see the chair, and I can also look back into the dining room and see other things. Could you see anything like that, or could you just see the person that you were talking to?
No, I just saw the person I was talking to, and a lot of times they look more like shadows than they did real people, you know. They would be there. It seemed like I know who they were, but then they were more shadows than they were people.
And you said one time everything looked shiny.
Oh yeah, everything was just real bright, and it was, and everything would look white, but it was white, but it had a shiny look to it.
But there was no definition at all, like you know, that we've always heard about, the trees, you know, that.
No.
Okay,
No, I
or
didn't
nothing
see
like
anything
that.
like that. No, I saw a lot of flowers, but I didn't see any trees at all. But I saw a lot of flowers, and especially roses. There was
Oh, really? Okay.
so many roses there, and they were all different colors.
Okay.
And
Were they like we would think of them here as being grown out of the ground, or were they just everywhere you
I
looked?
don't know.
You just saw the
I
roses.
could just see them, you know. I don't know if they were in the ground or not. That's something to think about, but I don't don't remember them being in the ground. But it was so pretty there. I mean, everything was soft. Everything was just, you felt like if you touched it, it would melt because everything looked so soft. And I don't know why anyone, well, of course people have fear, you know, things that they're unknown and things they don't know.
Sure, fear of tunnels.
Yeah, that's natural, I guess.
Okay,
But I just keep wondering what on earth I've got to do.
okay. I'm going to ask you 2 more questions, okay?
Okay.
While you were there, did you enjoy your time there?
Oh, I loved it. I wanted to stay. I asked to stay, but God wouldn't let me stay. And He told me I could come back. And
That was my second question. Do you want to go back?
oh yes, definitely, definitely. I felt so at peace ever since then that I have this happiness just radiates in my heart because it just seems like that I'm so at peace and I feel so much closer to God. I know Him now, you know, in a way that I didn't know Him before. I used to talk to Him all day and thank Him for my family and thank Him that I had hot water and thank Him that, you know, for the rain and for different silly little things, you know. But then after I saw Him, it made me know that He's real. He's a real person. And He talked like a real person. And I wish people wouldn't be afraid of death. But then...
Well, you gave me one more question to ask you then. When you say he talked like a real person, was his voice, was it deep or soft or...
Soft, very soft,
Very soft.
spoken, very soft spoken. And very gentle. And I think He understands, He knows what's in our heart and our mind. And He understands people so well that we don't really have to tell Him our problems because He knows what our problems are before we even tell Him. But when I'm talking to Him during the day, you know, and at night, I repeat myself over and over and over. And I'll thank Him, you know, for my family. And I'll start with, you know, with each one and thank Him for each one. And I think He knows how thankful I am. I don't know why I keep saying thank you, but I just feel like, I feel humble. I feel so humble that He could love me. I just don't understand it at all. Even after being there and talking to Him, I don't understand how He can love me the way He does. And He does. He loves me. And I just don't understand that. Because there's not a day that goes by that in one way or another that I don't sin. I ask forgiveness for it when I do, but then, you know, maybe I'll envy somebody for this or that, you know, or whatever. It might not be a great big monumental thing, but then it's just that I just don't understand how He can love me. I just don't understand how anybody can love the way He loves.
Well, I'm out of questions for now, but is there anything else you want to say?
Jimmy made me promise that I would let him go so he could enjoy his time there. And I told him I would. And I think I have. I really think I have because I'm so happy that he's there, you know, that I feel good. And that's the one thing I wanted to tell people. When one of your loved ones die, don't grieve to the point or try to hang on to them because, you know, Mac would, bless her heart, she can't help it. I've talked to her about it before, and she just can't let him go. And she writes writes letters to him, and takes cards to him, and takes flowers every 2 weeks, and goes to the cemetery, you know. And that's not really fair to the individual that's gone. But I haven't hung on to Jimmy like that. I've released him and let him enjoy heaven in his time. Not that I don't miss him. You know, I miss him. I think I've done a good job of releasing him so he can be free to enjoy heaven. And that's what I want people to know. You know, don't hang on to your loved ones. And I want you guys to remember that too. I mean, if you cry for 5 minutes and then let it go, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.